Hi, it's David from Life with Parkinsons. If you're new here, welcome. I hope you'll consider subscribing. For everybody else, thank you for coming back and watching another episode. Sometimes it's fun just to look back and reminisce because, as most of us know, hindsight is 20/20 vision. So I thought it might be fun to just explore maybe a few things I wish I had known in the beginning. Like when I got diagnosed with Parkinson's, these are the things that I wish people had told me. It's not really to point out things people didn't tell me, but it's just to say these are things that I felt affected me early on that I wish people had just maybe rammed home a little bit harder. The first thing that probably would have been helpful is just to let people know, or if someone had just let me know, like there was really only one neurologist actually told us this. Sometimes this disease can progress pretty quickly. And I've learned more about that from other people who subscribe to this channel. And me personally, I feel that it's progressed fairly quickly as well. And I think that's due to the fact that because when I finally got diagnosed, we were able to track back symptoms 8 to 10 years. So when you're at that 8 to 10 year point, like in my case, that was when I got diagnosed. So now I'm almost 6 years into my diagnosis, and I'm like, wow, I have really fallen apart compared to the person I used to be. Like, if I was going to go back now and say, okay, let's have a look at myself 15, 16 years ago, it's like, wow, things have really changed, right? But we're really only just coming up on the 6 year mark past my diagnosis. And I'm looking back these 6 years and I'm going, wow, a lot has changed in 6 years. My medications have increased quite a bit. I'm asking for help quite a bit more. My non-motor symptoms have increased quite a bit. And I look back to that, maybe like whatever it was, 1 hour we spent with that one neurologist. It's like, wow, he really spelled it out for us. And I think people tell you that it goes slowly, obviously, so you don't panic. So you're not like, oh my God, the sky is falling, the sky is falling, the sky is falling. I understand that people don't want you to panic. But on the other hand, right, this dementia specialist was telling us, you need to prepare for the future now. You can't put this off. And he really drove that home until we were sitting up in our seats a little bit. And like I said before, it's not to say that the rest of the medical staff was wrong. They were trying to get us not to panic because we were probably already panicking. I look back now and I see that it can feel like this disease progresses really quickly because I would say most of the people I've met anyhow have said, yeah, when I got diagnosed, we could see anywhere from, 5 to 10 years back. That's just kind of an average. I'm pulling out of the air. But a lot of people have said, yeah, when we look back now, we can see it years ago. Once you get diagnosed, there's already a time lapse. Yeah, for me, it honestly feels like sometimes it goes pretty quick. The next thing that I wish people talked about more was the non-motor symptoms of Parkinson's. And I think a lot of that has to do with generally the public perception that when you have Parkinson's, you have tremors. I don't think there's a big public perception that when you have Parkinson's, you have non-motor symptoms, like problems thinking, problems making decisions, right? It's just that I don't think there's enough awareness out there that dopamine really affects like probably 99.9% of your body. When you start losing your dopamine, like I know I'm not a doctor, so this is just my point of view. To me, it seems like dopamine affects everything to do with your body, like thinking, heartbeat, breathing, like all your muscles, like all your emotions. From my point of view, it's like it affects everything. And I'm really grateful for the synthetic dopamine, but it's just a little bit different, right? It's just not the same. Things aren't the same as they used to be. I just compare it to the fact that everyone was telling me to exercise, and they were probably right. Exercise is a great thing. And I agree with that. Get exercise every day. There wasn't a lot of discussion about the non-motor symptoms. Again, my time with the dementia specialist, the stuff he said is all coming true. And that's not to say that the other neurologists were wrong. It's just that it may seem I'm picking on the other medical staff, but I'm not really. Like, exercise gives you good hormones and gives you the good stuff that helps with the non-motor symptoms. It's just one thing. Like, my symptoms are the movement related type of Parkinson's, which apparently has more effect on the non-motor symptoms. But I hardly ever get tremors. I just don't have that set of symptoms. I've got these slowed movements, the slowed thinking, the slowed speech. Like, everything is just slowing down. And along with that comes a lot of non-motor symptoms. And for me, I think it would have been more helpful if I'd gotten more information to start me out on dealing with the non-motor symptoms. That's just all I'm saying. Because with the non-motor symptoms, right? Like, it just, the anxiety problem has been just so persistent since my diagnosis and before now. I can see before, but just dealing with the anxiety, and I just feel that there should be I just feel that in my opinion there should be, like, maybe just somehow divide the Parkinson's symptoms into two, and the people that don't get the tremors and who have that kind of like set of like bradykinesia, slowed movements, problems, lots of off time, should get more of a push on the non-motor symptoms, and perhaps the symptom set I don't really understand, like the tremor-based symptom sets, should get what they need, and I don't really know what they need. I only really know what I need. So I'm not picking on anyone. I'm not picking on any medical staff. They're doing a heck of a job. I'm really grateful for everything they've done. Please don't get me wrong. I'm just saying that I wish there had been more of a push for the non-motor symptoms. I feel, just my own opinion, I feel there should be, I feel there's a need for that. And the last thing I'd like to mention here is that I wish I had gotten involved in some sort of support group earlier. Like, my exposure at the time of my diagnosis, my exposure to people with Parkinson's was very limited, probably because I wasn't seeking them out. I just wish that I had talked more to other people who had had the disease a little bit, well, who had had the diagnosis a little bit longer than me, because it's a different type of relationship, right? When you go to your clinic appointment, right, you're talking to the health social worker, you're talking to the nurse, you're talking to the neurologist, sometimes you're talking to the physiotherapist, right? It's a different kind of relationship, right? Like, you're looking to them to guide, like, we're looking to them to guide us in our decisions, right? But we don't really get the everyday battle from them, right? We don't really get the people that are out in the trenches fighting against Parkinson's every day. We don't get that kind of feedback where we can share tips and tricks or things that we found that work for us, right? When you're talking to someone about your Parkinson's symptoms face to face and they've got the same problem, right? Sometimes they're able to give you feedback or you're able to give them feedback. It's just a different type of relationship, right? And I think for me anyhow, I think we need that connection with people. We need to connect with people. And that's kind of what we're doing here, right? We're getting them back and forth. And it's really helpful for me to talk to you guys about things that I'm dealing with. And I appreciate when you're sharing things that you're dealing with. So again, I don't think it's a problem with the medical system. I think from my experience with Parkinson's, there is so much information out there. It's almost overwhelming, right? It's hard to sift through it all and find that what really applies to you. It's hard sifting through it all and finding that little piece of information and applying it to myself. I don't know if you guys struggle with that, but I know I do, right? You go on the internet and you type in Parkinson's and it's like, whoa, wow, there's all this stuff. And it's like, well, how do I know what's right for me? And I think that's the part I struggle with, is being involved in something sooner, I think, might have given me more time-tested and true options, right? Because the medical system gives you all the drugs and everything that you need, but when you're living day to day, sometimes you just need a shoulder to cry on or a friend to talk to. And I guess that's what I'm pointing out. I wish I had made friends with people with Parkinson's sooner. So that's what I'd like to pass on. Well, thank you for listening, and thank you for watching and supporting this channel. If you have any thoughts on these 3 items, please leave them in the comments below. I appreciate all your feedback, and I try to respond to every comment as soon as I can. So thank you for watching. Thank you for supporting this channel. Let's take this journey together, and I'll see you on the next one. Thank you, goodbye, and have a good day.